For the first time since 1969, the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs returned to one of their historic homes, Daytona. Welcome to the 52nd SCCA Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb at Daytona International Speedway, brought to you by Mazda. The run for the medals begins now. Daytona International Speedway. What a venue and what a host for the 2015 running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb. Hi everybody, welcome to our coverage today brought to you by Mazda. I'm Greg Creamer alongside Jeff Leppard down in the pits, Hayward Wagner. Two classes running. Now we should point out, Touring 3, you have to have a minimum entry at the runoffs of 10 cars for it to be determined to be a national championship class. So Touring 3 will not be a national championship decided, but there were enough entrants here that showed up that they said, well, we want to run them anyway. Let's give them a chance to run. But the championship here is going to be decided in Touring 2, and a guy looking for a bit of redemption, Kurt Rezatano, driving for Phoenix American and Calvert Dynamics in his Ford Mustang, on pole at Mazda Raceway last year, heading down into Turn 2, led comfortably into Turn 2. A couple of cars behind him got together. One of them speared through pit lane across the gravel and just took Kurt out at the exit of that second corner, and it absolutely clocked him. So he's looking to come back and have a good run here. We also have a treat for you. As we've said, this is presented now by Garmin Verb. It's a remarkable HD camera that also provides some fascinating data, and we're going to hop on board for our Garmin Verb Fast Lap with our pole sitter, Kurt Rezatano, for a lap of this great track, Jeff.
Yeah, he's in that car that he actually destroyed at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. That Phoenix Performance team got that car rebuilt, and he campaigned it this year to 5 U.S. Majors wins throughout the 2015 season, and is by far the favorite here to win the championship this weekend as he comes down through the International Horseshoe. Mustang's a little softer sprung car than most of that with that solid rear axle in the rear, and when you put Phoenix Performance setup on it, we've seen these cars. They're super soft sprung when you drop the rears. It hooks that right rear tire. You'll see that left front kick up there in the kink. You come down here into the West Horseshoe and try to stay as tight as you can until that last possible moment when you want to unwind that wheel and hit this little short shoot into turn number 6.
And really, I think turn 6 is probably the most important corner here.
It really is. You come down to the inside here. You want to go right to the gator strips there on the exit, increase that corner. It's a hard transition up into the bankment, so as soon as you can get onto this bank, you can just start putting that power down, go through the gears, and accelerate up to top speed until you get into the bus stop chicane here on the back stretch. Stay right on that yellow line. If you go up way high, you're just making the track longer than it needs to be. He's running about 130, 140. You'll see him touch 150 miles an hour before he gets down into our braking zone here at the bus stop. So to get the max velocity speed you can, you got to get out of turn number 6 best.
And then you've got to get the transitions right. That quick left, right, left flick through the bus stop. And we've seen that has been a place that has bitten a number of drivers. That's the way you do it right there. We just watched Kurt Rezatano give us a tour.
Yeah, in this weekend here, and it's a good shot to see the Garmin Verb lap. You got the track map in your upper right of your screen to show you exactly where you are on the track here. Let's see what his top speed is. Now, mind you, this is a Touring 2 category car, production-based, 160 miles an hour, 63 miles an hour in a car that started its life with a showroom sticker, full interior, had air conditioning and a radio in it. You put the safety equipment in there, you do some safety mods, you put some good set of tires, good set of brake pads, some nice suspension on it, and that's really all you're allowed to do.
Yeah, it is pretty remarkable. And let's keep in mind, you mentioned the tires here. There's a variety of different cars and manufacturers in this class. It's also an open tire class, and so you've got a lot of tire manufacturers that are involved in it. Hayward, obviously, Touring 2 is a race that always provides some great excitement and great stories.
Guys, our excitement so far this week has been the old school classes, the production classes, and the open wheel formula cars. Today is a day for the new classes to shine. T3 and T2 rolling out of class right now. A bunch of variety in tire and car, as you mentioned. These are production-based cars born from the old showroom stock rule set, some performance enhancements to balance the field out. We spoke with the pole sitter on pole day. He told us his favorite thing about Daytona was the retaining wall on the inside of turn 1. He thinks if he can make it through that turn this year, it's his race to win.
That's a very good point, obviously. And we also have a super super sweep eligible driver in this race. He'll be starting 5th. That is the number 4 of Tim Kesman out of Franksville, Wisconsin, in the Calypso Lemonade entry that he runs with Fall Line Motorsports. And he actually was a super sweep eligible driver in the first race of this entire weekend here, the GT2 category, and he didn't pull it off there. He's got another shot at it here. He won the Southeastern Division, the Northern Division Championship. He also won the 2 of the qualifier events, Road America, which is the June sprints, and a big race at NOLA, the great racetrack just outside of New Orleans. So he's got that opportunity here. Now he has to do the most difficult of all those chores, and that's bring home a win in a national championship. If he does that, he gets the super sweep. That's a big broom, man, when you pull that one off.
Yeah, it sure is. He's starting back in 5th in that Porsche, the Calypso Lemonade. And unfortunately, I looked in the cooler, Greg, there is none left. The guys wiped me out. So.
Well, it's pretty popular stuff, no question of that.
It is. Good shot overheads here from Daytona International Speedway. Give you a good shot at this great racing facility, the world's center of speed, as they call it, in the T2, T3 field, being led by that Mazda MX-5 pace car. Of course, this online coverage brought to you today by Mazda. That's that new global MX-5 Cup that you'll see compete next year, and some great things coming from that, moving up that Honda or the Mazda ladder to see what Honda's done with the series. They got a new car with Brian Novak getting his podium in Formula Atlantic, with the Ford contingencies that they have, all the different manufacturers that come into the series here with SCCA, supporting the club racing, the grassroots. If you win a national championship, you get a prize money from the sponsors with your car, the make. You get a free set of tires usually. Mobile One, our sponsor here for the Runoffs too, they give you an oil. We have Sunoco, the Sunoco Hard Charger Award in each of our classes. So it's a lot of support here for just the club racer level.
Well, and I mean, you need partnerships like that. Yeah, that's how you drive things like this, quite literally. And you just saw that Calypso car, once again, of the driver who's got that shot at the super sweep as the field now out and about. It will be a split start, so there'll be a little gap between the Touring 2 cars and then the Touring 3 machines as they work their way around here. And as you can see, this is a pretty serpentine track on the infield. You look at it, Jeff, and it looks, oh, this doesn't look to be such a tough place. But the problem is, it seems like everywhere on this track, the grip seems to be different, and you've really got to be on your game in some corners where you wouldn't expect it. There's a little bit of an off-camber attitude to it. So it's a track that to extract real speed from it on that infield is tricky.
It really is. You got to get a setup done right, and we've talked that over that. You think that the big banking here, the straightaways, you'd want to set your car up for the oval. That has not been the case here this weekend. The cars that have been fast and have won have been quicker on the road course generally, besides some of the smaller Formula cars that are able to play with that aero and be faster on the straightaways. But the cars that have been quick on the road course have turned those into national championships.
Yeah, you can't forget about that infield. As we said, Resitano on pole, outside pole, as you see the grid going across the top of the screen. Cooper McNeil in the WeatherTech BMW, the number 46, 77, Preston Calvert in his Calvert Dynamics Phoenix Performance Mustang starts 3rd. 63, Bill Collins starts 4th. The Interstate Truck Driving School Chevy Corvette starting 5th. Tim Kesman, as we said, going for that super sweep in the number 4, 6, number 42. Michael Levine, a driver who's had a silver at the Runoffs, but never managed to bring home that gold in the Renew It Auto Body and Hoosier Tired Ford Mustang Coupe. Starting in the 7th spot, the number 3 of Albert Nosserine in his Phoenix Hoosier Varsity Ford Mustang. Starting 8th is the number 18, Aaron Kaplan in the Kaplan Racing Systems Fall Line BMW. 9th, number 34, Marty Grand out of Manassas Park, Virginia. He is driving a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo and completing the top 10, a former national champion. The number 26 of Jim Lighthizer. Interestingly, his championship came in 2004 in showroom stock B, so it's been a while for him at Mid-Ohio in the Alpine Motorsports Hoosier Tires BMW. And as you can see here, Jeff, this is one of those classes that's getting the 2 pace laps here just because they want to make sure that the tires are up to pressure correctly before the first time you start hammering into this infield and up onto this banking.
Yeah, it's the first time we've had the Runoffs here in 40 something years. So the tire technology has come a long way, and they just want to make sure that they get the proper air pressure. The way that the tires have, a lot of teams use nitrogen inside the tires, so there'll be a buildup of the air pressure as the tire gets hotter. If you put compressed air in there, the humidity in the compressed air makes that tire pressure build up faster, so you have to monitor that with the air gauges, the temperatures across the tire from the inside to the middle to the outside to make sure you have a nice even spread here. These cars, a little bit heavier. We're talking a little over 3,000, 3,300 pounds for some of these vehicles out here. They want to make sure that they get those operating pressures up. You don't want to have any tire failures, especially with these cars doing 160 miles an hour on the bank.
And just the slightest little change in pressure inside that tire can have a vast effect on the spring rates and thus the handling of the car.
It really does. The sidewall of the tire also you include into your suspension travel there. We're talking sometimes you adjust your tire pressures by 1/2 pound just to get to that optimum temperature.
And we've seen that bite a few people here. It's been extremely warm just in general, temperatures upper 80s at the least, but the other side of the coin has been humidity here has been through the roof, and the real feel, as they say on most of these days, we've had temperatures in the upper 90s pushing 100. It is hot, it is humid, and we've seen a couple of instances where teams that had the pressures that were just wrong and just faded immediately, and we saw teams that played the game a little bit better and had the pressures where the tires came in a little bit later in the race and they really came to the fore, and it's a huge deal here, preserving your tires. It's only 14 laps, but there's a lot of load on these bankings, and you're really working the tires on the infield, and there is a little bit of tire management that you have to pay some attention to.
Especially with 14 laps around this 3.5 mile road course here at Daytona International Speedway. It's going to have it all come together if you're going to want to win a national championship, and that's in any of our classes, not just our T2, T3 categories.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, speaking of T3, Scotty White on pole in the T3 category in his BF Goodrich Night Transport Mustang. Bob Shader, former national champion in the number 3 Hoosier Tire Boulder Nissan 350Z Nismo. The 09 of Jason Ott, extremely quick driver in his Hoosier race tires in Bimmerhaus. BMW Z4 Coupe. Tom Wickersham, former national champion in the 01 BF Goodrich Main Straight Racing Mustang, and Tom Brady 00 from Bradenton, Florida in the Irish Mike's Racing BMW M3. So that's the field in the Touring 3 category. As I said, not enough cars for it to be a national championship class, but they traveled a long way and wanted to give them a chance to run, and the folks in Touring 2 said, yep, we'll run with them, and we'll have some fun here. So 2 different classes that are going to be competing. The medals and the national championship going to be decided in the class that's closest up to this pace car in that front row. Kurt Resitano, Cooper McNeil, those are 2 guys, a lot of experience on pro level racing as well. It should be fun to watch them go, but keep an eye on that yellow Calypso Porsche there. That is the driver Tim Hesmans, who's got a shot at the extremely rare Super Sweep. Mike Lewis won it earlier in GT1. Andy McNurbid won it in A Sedan in a remarkable run as well. But we'll see whether Mr. Hesmans can pull it off, and whether or not he can, and who gets the medals is about to be decided. 14 laps about to commence here, and the run to the medals in T2 is underway, and a great start by Kurt Resitano, and Cooper McNeil doing the smart thing, just dropped in and tucked right in behind him. Behind him, though, Jeff, things are getting wild right off the go here.
Yeah, I saw one of those Corvettes down there way below the apron passing 2 cars. Stewards are going to ask him to give that back, or that might be a time penalty or a drive-through penalty down on pit lane. They'll take a look at that. You're not allowed to go below those 2 double yellow lines. Single file down in the International Horseshoe.
Look there at that red 77, and a big move by Preston Calvert down underneath. Cooper McNeil going for second. That is another of those cars from Phoenix Performance. Here's the start in your T3 category. Boy, and Scotty White just did not get the jump you would have expected, and it was Bob Shader who launched into the lead of that class. But here's Resitano building that margin, and Preston Calvert, teammate to Resitano in Pro League World Challenge GTS competition. Great start, and Hesmans has also come up, gained 2 spots, and tucks right now into that 4th spot.
Yeah, he needs to try to maximize that Porsche here in the early stages, try to get in front of these guys, make them run their tires off as they try to chase him down. Kurt Resitano, his best friend right now is his teammate Preston Calvert, being able to hold up Cooper McNeil a little bit here through the oval, but Preston Calvert running GT2 here this weekend, had a terrible crash in his Corvette, was not able to get that car fixed, but actually pulling away from Cooper McNeil a little bit. Phoenix Performance running 1-2.
Yeah, looking at Hesmans here, he's close enough to maybe start to get a toe off the back of Cooper McNeil. I don't think he's quite close enough to do anything into the bus stop, and McNeil, too, started to close up a bit on Preston Calvert, but McNeil, as he got on the brakes to turn in for the bus stop, looked like he lost just a little bit of time and didn't get through there quite as quickly as Calvert. He gets that margin right back again.
You see how close it can close in here with that draft. You see the Corvette starting to come in on the back of Kesman.
Yeah, Bill Collins, that silver vet, doing a nice job getting a real nice toe here. Moves down to the inside. Now Hesman, looked like Hesman maybe was going to squeeze him, but then was the gentleman that we know he is and just said, whoops, a little bit too far down there. I'll open the door up because he's got a head of steam coming. Now, though, Hesman's going to try and just ramp right around the outside, and he's cleared him. But he floats a little bit wide, but Collins, the back of the vet, steps out big time, and that, I think, cost him the ability to maybe close the deal and make that pass.
A little better braking on that Porsche, too. You saw that into turn number 1. Of course, that car prepped by Fall Line Motorsports. Big contingent of cars here this weekend with Cooper McNeil right in front in that WeatherTech BMW. Another Fall Line car, so it's Fall Line 3rd and 4th. Phoenix Performance 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, Kesman really driving well here, going back and watching what's unfolding in the T3 category. And Shader leads, but Tom Wickersham has been able to move up. And Jeff, he had started back in the 4th spot. He's been able to leapfrog up into the 2nd spot, pushes Scotty White back into 3rd. And then Jason Ott in that silver and blue BMW has locked down 4th, but he's looking pretty racy too.
It really is. And this is what Sports Car Club of America is all about. They're not going for a national champion. They're just going for a race win, nose to tail, 1st through 4th in our T3 category. They're having a race.
Yeah, and in the background, I thought I saw a big run by Collins on that red 77 of Preston Calvert, which means Collins must have cleared and gone around the Calypso machine of Kesman's. So we'll watch that. Oh, Scotty White has some problems, Jeff. Smoke coming off of the back of that car. And that may be why he wasn't able to get the jump that we expected. And in that background, I guess it was just the angle didn't play right because no position change at this point with Preston Calvert, that red number 77 Calvert Dynamics Mustang, hanging on over the WeatherTech BMW of Cooper McNeil and that Calypso Porsche of Tim Kesman's.
Looking at the trap speeds here, trying to see, we've got a couple of times that they've gone through the speed traps here. We'll see how quick they can go down the straightaway. In that qualifying session, they were touching 163 miles an hour, but there is Cooper McNeil. The power move to the outside gets the draft over Preston Calvert into 2nd place now, but how about 166 miles an hour catching that draft for Cooper McNeil?
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable to have that kind of pace, but that's what the draft will do for you here by yourself in the 160 range. In these cars, it allows you to pick that up. And now that Cooper's gone through, and I think that may have been what we were talking about, Jeff, with tire pressures. That car, first couple of laps, didn't look all that comfortable, but now as he completes that 2nd lap and starts the next run here, as we're setting up now for lap number 3, looks like that WeatherTech BMW has really come strong.
It really is, and don't count out Kesman right behind them in that Porsche, starting to come into his own, and we'll see if this Mustang, notoriously they slide around a lot, softly sprung. Got to be careful not to wear those Hoosier tires out a little too soon here with a long way to go in this race, not even a quarter of the way done yet.
And we'll have to see here now what Kesman is able to do in that bright yellow Porsche as they're up on the banking. At this stage, overall, it is Kurt Rezatano who just resets fast lap at a 2-minute 1.226, and he's already out, Jeff, at about, after 2 laps, he's got a margin of 5 seconds. Rezatano is just, I think the man is as determined as you could possibly be after that incident at the start of the national championship at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca last year. He right now is just going to wring the neck out of this car. He wants it.
Yeah, fastest race lap by almost 2 seconds over the field. He is determined, head down, trying to get a run here. Watch out for Tim Kesman now. He's going to have a good draft here from Preston Calvert. That Mustang makes a pretty big hole in the air, and that slim, slick Porsche able to tuck right on that back bumper. See if he can get a slingshot here coming out of NASCAR turn number 4.
Boy, he is right there. It's all a matter of what he can do. Now they're heading into now the tri-oval section here. So what you want to do is have yourself in a position as you clear the tri-oval and now make that run down into turn 1 to try maybe and pop out and get the braking in. And Preston Calvert, pretty savvy, he moved over and covered that. So now Kesman's going to go for the over-under. And Preston doing a beautiful job, Jeff, of putting that Mustang exactly where Kesman wanted to go with the Porsche to make the pass and not letting it happen.
Yeah, he's really not blocking there. You're allowed to go and park the car where you want it to do in the corner, and he's maintaining his line, but making it just enough enough where Kesman can't stick a nose underneath him or on the outside.
That's a great defense, and that's absolutely no issue there. What you don't want to do is start moving in reaction to a move somebody made, but you know, you can sort of anticipate what they're going to do before they make the move. Put your car where you think they would want to exit, and a lot of times it would be, okay, if I'm him, where do I want to go here? And that's where you put the car to make it a little bit more difficult, but a good battle here. And this little bit of a scrap that's starting to shape up is good for Cooper McNeil. He hasn't been able to drop those guys, but at least right now they're racing each other. They're not worried about Cooper, and as a result, Cooper can just drive for a couple of laps.
We've seen it in a few of our national championship races. Oh, there's trouble back there with the number 07 Corvette getting trouble in the horseshoe. It's Russell Peterson having issues there. Gets back underway. You see the T3 field coming down through the field. Let's see if we can get a look at what happened here. As your T3 leader, Bob Shader, I don't think Russell Peterson knew that he was there. Wickersham getting touched in the right rear of his Mustang as well.
Yeah, Wickersham obviously having a little bit of a problem, and he's way back right now, and just a little bit of a problem there. So the question now is going to be, did Shader get through that without any significant damage to his car? And there's that 0 white Mustang. That's running second in T3 right now. Tom Wickersham, again, Wickersham, a very talented driver, former national champion, as we mentioned, and he actually got that championship. It was a while back. It was at Road America. And it was in the GT2 category, so he's made the switch now over to this T3 class as we take a look at Bob Shader. And again, Shader also a national champion, but his came a little bit before that. How about 1985 at Road Atlanta in S2000? He was a gun in the S2000 cars for a lot of years, Shader was.
Yeah, just got word from his pits that got a mega vibration there on that Nissan. So not sure what the problem is. Obviously, it must have been that contact that he had with Peterson really affecting the alignment, or hopefully didn't break a wheel on the left front. There's some damage to that fender. You can see it there as he's coming down through the oval.
Yeah, not a good thing. And obviously, I didn't see any huge lockup in avoiding, so I don't know that it would be a flat spot. It would be something else that's creating the problem. It certainly hasn't affected his straight line speed, has it?
It has not, as he's able to put his foot down and just manage it as he comes down through. Already had a problem earlier. He's got a brand new bumper on the front of that car, but you see there is some damage there to that left front fender, and you got to think that the damage on the top of the fender being pushed in the way it is, there could possibly be some damage to that wheel. Definitely knocked the alignment out, I'm sure.
There's your 0-1 again, sitting in the second spot. Up from fourth is Wickersham behind Shader, and behind them, Scotty White now is really a huge pressure from the 0-9. That silver and blue BMW of Jason Ott. You can see Jason looking to the inside, looking to the outside. The smoke seems to have stopped appearing from Scotty B. White's car, so hopefully it was just an overfill on something, and now things have equalized. He's able to, I'm not seeing that smoke anymore at all.
Well, there's two ways: either that it's gone away by itself, or you're out of fluid. There's no reason for it to smoke anymore anyway. Which is
the rather less optimistic look at it for sure here as they head down in and up onto the banking through turn 6 once again. And we'll see Jason Ott here as he's trying to make the run and come after him. And at this stage, that Mustang's pretty good in terms of the torque up onto the banking, and Ott not able to do much with it. Ooh, we got somebody off here. It's the number 3, it looks like, is pulled off. That's Albert Nosreen out of Shavertown, Pennsylvania, the Phoenix Hoosier and Varsity Mustang.
Look here.
There it is. Oof.
Huge impact. I believe that's in the braking zone for the bus stop, or is that off the exit of NASCAR turn at number 2?
Going into the bus stop is the report we get, Jeff, and you can see all the water that came out of those tires. And we definitely have had some rain here, which means that you get on that grass and you actually pick up speed because that grass is so wet. So once Albert got off track there, he was literally just a passenger. As we go back to the front of this, and Kurt Resitano's margin now up to over 11 seconds. However, the interesting thing here is Preston Calvert and Cooper McNeil are really at it right now, and Tim Kesman in the Calypso Porsche has dropped off just a little bit from that battle.
He really has. It was right about a half a second was separating those two cars. Not sure if he made a mistake, but now it's 1.2 seconds. Sorry, 2.5 seconds separating those two drivers now.
And for Resitano, this is just what he wanted, literally a Sunday morning drive out here. That car is just hooked up. And we've seen, I mean, Kurt Rezzitano was one of the great stories that's unfolded in any paddock, pro or club. He started off, he was really as a truck driver, and then one of the right front tire changers for the Phoenix Performance Continental Tire Series team. And they went to one of those days where the team rents the track and let some of the team guys come out, the crew members, have some fun in the cars. And in very short order, Rezzitano was knocking on the door at the times of Andrew Aquilani and some of the other guns. And they went, man, maybe we need to give this guy a shot at something here. Put him behind the wheel of a car in actual race trim. And he stepped up and has been spectacular.
Yeah, he really has competed in the Pirelli World Challenge Series here last year or this year full time, and did a great job. Had a victory this season, so multiple poles, and then
player in the points championship.
He was actually going for the championship till right near the end, able to help Ford clinch that manufacturers championship for the Pirelli World Challenge. So he's really, like you said, a good story. He'll sweep the shop floors, drive the truck, change the tires, work on the cars. He built this car. We had to rebuild it after last year. We mentioned that earlier. And now here, not going to jinx him, but leading with halfway in T2.
And here we watch now, and you can see that Preston Calvert, he'd been right up on the back of McNeil a couple of laps ago, and now he's just faded a little bit. And taking a look at the lap times, McNeil's last lap, a 2:03.4, Preston's a 2:04 flat. And there's the number 33 down into the pits right now. Bill Moore in the MS Sports Hoosier, and support from Mom as well. That's always nice. In his Chevy Camaro, you can see a little wrinkle in the side of that car. And the other car, Jeff, that ended up in those barriers out by the bus stop, far enough off track, the stewards have decided we'll just let him stay there for the duration of the race.
Yeah, the teams have seen, the cars have seen that car go by twice. They've had a yellow flag there. They're going to pull that yellow flag down now. They did get the driver out. He is safe and behind the wall. I guess if you're going to crash in a place like that, it's a good place to crash right next to a course worker station.
Certainly got their attention when you spray them with water, when you hit those tires like that. As we go back to this battle for second here. But here's the battle. Oh, and look at this. Scotty White now has been able to get up, move around Wickersham, that white Mustang. And Scotty's, ironically, not the white Mustang, named Scotty White. And right behind them is Jason Ott in that BMW. Jason, I thought he got a great run and was going to try and come down the inside, and he does. He makes that move, slices through that Z4, gets underneath Wickersham. Now Wickersham in the white Mustang trying to come back at him, but he's on the wrong side of the track as they get to this crucial turn 6. But for Jason now, Jeff, he's got to get that BMW out of there with the torque of that Mustang right on his wing.
Yeah, you see Wickersham just turn that wheel down, put the hammer down on that V8 power, drive right around Jason Ott. He's going to tuck back in behind that Mustang, try to get a draft, but Scotty White will be able to get by and for that second place. What a great battle here. And these guys, this is just a regular club race for them. They're not going for a national championship. This is all about pride for these drivers.
Absolutely. You can see Shader has opened up a sizable lead now. He's up 3 seconds ahead of this group. So these guys are just having a furious battle for the second spot right now. And Ott tried to, that's a tough place to make a pass, Jeff, a mid-corner in the bus stop. But he had a great angle through there and just tried to carry some speed and surprise Wickersham. Didn't quite work, but boy, if he'd executed it, it would have been interesting. But now, look at how they're going to close up here. 2 cars running together. We've seen it all event long. You get 2 cars in the draft together, it's way quicker than 1 car by itself. And look at them close.
Yeah, Wickersham right on the back bumper there, only 2 car lengths away. I think they're going to run out of time before they get in the braking zone. Here comes Ott, though, getting the draft off the back of that Mustang down into the braking zone, a little lighter in that Z4.
And Wickersham sort of dissuaded him from continuing to stick the nose down there. Scotty White way wide, bouncing through the grass. That's going to let these 2 guys right back through. So that just that fast, Wickersham back into second, Ott into third, and White, who had worked his way up into that second spot, now has to do it all over again.
He's got a long way to go because he's lost multiple car lengths. If he does not catch back up here in the infield, he's going to lose the draft when they get back up on the oval.
That's a very good point. We've seen that speed and these two guys now know they've got an opportunity if Scotty is not there. And even so, we've seen it play so many times here during the course of the event. Two cars running together are the fastest combination by far. Third car adds to that train, he just drops off. It's just the way that the aero is working here at Daytona International Speedway. Things settling a little bit here as we have just completed the halfway point in this run to the gold in T2 and an entertaining race in T3 as well. We're going to pause for a minute, but we will be right back to Daytona. The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize, family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.
14 seconds clear is this man, Kurt Rezzitano, on his way perhaps to a national championship in the T2, the Touring 2 division. He has just been a freight train today, dominant thus far. However, you know, you still have 6 laps to go. You're running these cars absolutely flat chat, stressing the engines perhaps more than they have been anywhere else. Things can happen. Not trying to jinx him by any means, but boy, what a run he has had thus far. And as we go for the gold in Touring 2, also running in this category is T3. And welcome back to Daytona. Greg Creamer along with Jeff Lepper, Hayward Wagner down in the pits right now. And Rezzitano, so far, Jeff, this has just been absolute perfection.
It really has. He hasn't put a wheel wrong. You see him hitting those apexes perfectly, leading. You talk about pulling away the way that he has with that 15.2 second lead last time by the stripe. Just taking his time, being careful, trying to get through lap traffic there. Doesn't want to force the issue. He's got a good gap. Just take it easy and get right by.
Yeah, be absolutely cautious. No reason, as you said, to force. That was Oscar Hernandez in the PowderDepot.com 305 Motorsports Porsche 996 platform 911 that he was able to work his way around. And you know, that's part of the drill, isn't it? You get out here like this, you get these big leads, and you start relaxing a little bit, and sometimes that's when the mistakes happen, and that's why Kurt hasn't dropped his pace too much. I think he's in his zone. He's really comfortable at that pace right now. He's not pushing exceptionally hard, but he's got a great pace and a rhythm. And I mean, sometimes that's just the key, isn't it? You find that rhythm, that's where you want to run.
And even if you want to start conserving, sometimes that's the worst thing you can do because you're in that rhythm. Everything is working great. Your shifts are perfect. Your braking zones are perfect. You got a perfect line. The car, the temperatures are all great. You start adjusting that, you may start making mistakes. You can start backing up. 15 seconds seems like a long time, but that can be evaporated in an instant.
Absolutely, that 15-second margin. Then now Cooper McNeil has about a 4-second margin in that 46 WeatherTech BMW back to Preston Calvert in the Calvert Dynamics Mustang. He then has another 3 seconds back to Tim Kesman. But Kesman now has started turning some pretty good laps. His last one was 7/10 quicker than Preston Calvert. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that plays out. Here comes Cooper McNeil, second, and what a run he's been able to put on. It just hasn't had the pace for Rezzitano, but otherwise he has been able to sort of control his own destiny in this run for that silver medal.
He really has, and it's one of those that we've seen it play out. We've had a leader leading and had a flat tire with Joe Huffaker in the F production class, and so you might be in the catbird seat for your national championship running second place. You have to be there at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, you cannot give it up. You can't just say, well, this isn't going to happen today, because things can happen. And as you said, if Cooper starts to ease off, suddenly you've got Calvert and Kesman right there, and then should something develop, it's all over for you, and not what you want to see happen here. So Cooper doing whatever he can at this stage to really push the envelope a little bit here and stay in front. And it isn't so much now, he knows he just doesn't have the pace to run with Resitano, but he wants to make sure he hits all of his marks and doesn't give Preston Calvert any kind of a gift.
And I believe Cooper McNeil will be at the Petit Le Mans here next week, and running the Porsche in the GTE category with WeatherTech. So doing a lot of professional racing. It was your whole front row in our T3 category. So multiple assets of driving here amongst the amateurs versus professionals here at the SCCA National Championship Runoffs.
Yep, doing a nice job. Cooper is indeed. Again, it's Resitano, McNeil, Calvert. Those are your podium spots right now. Kesman, again, going for that super sweep. Been a little bit quicker than Preston Calvert, but just not enough here. And the only way you get that super sweep is you got to win, and that's where it gets a little bit tough. And Bill Collins, still a nice run sitting there in that 5th spot. Now, John Buttermore in the number 152. And John is a 2-time national champion. Didn't get the qualifying he wanted back in 12th, but he's taken that Hoosier Carbotech machine, that's that Corvette, and he has brought it up now into the 6th spot, and he's only, about 3 seconds off of Bill Collins right now, so he's closing it up just a little bit as we now go back and pick up your 3rd place runner, Preston Calvert.
Yeah, Calvert's doing a great job in that Mustang. He's campaigned this car in the T2 category. He's also campaigned it in the Trans Am series, so doing multiple platforms in this car, he gets to race it. And that's what's great about SCCA. You buy a car and you can race it in multiple classes here within SCCA. You can add a restrictor and slow the car down, run a different class. You can go run a pro race with Pirelli World Challenge. You can run in the Trans Am series. You can go take this car and go do an autocross. You can run a race car in autocross. You can run a street car in an autocross. I've seen minivans do autocrosses.
Absolutely, there's a class for it, and that's what makes it kind of fun. There's Buttermore. And now, though, the question for Buttermore is, as he's moved up, he's got some competition right with him, the 34, Marty Grand. And Marty has just unleashed that Mitsubishi Lancer Evo here and has drawn right up onto the back of Buttermore. This is the battle now for the E6 spot.
So interesting to see the different makes and platforms. The all-wheel drive Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution versus the rear-wheel drive, so to speak, American supercar, the Chevy Corvette. Sports car, 2-seater, a 4-door sedan, grocery getter right behind the Corvette here. But those turbocharged Mitsubishi Evos, those cars when they first came out, mostly set up for rally, getting acclimated here to road racing, doing a good job back in 7th place.
And a very unique engine note when that turbo kicks in on those cars. There's no other sound I've ever heard quite like it when that thing comes up on the turbo.
It really does. That 4-cylinder 2-liter really makes a great exhaust note. And when you open them up in the race car configurations, no catalytic converters, no restrictors, no mufflers, they actually sound really nice, and you hear that nice hum coming from the turbo.
Boy, he's in that draft now. He's got a toe off of the back of Buttermore, and Buttermore knows it. Now it's going to be a matter of, can he make the move and make that pop move down into the bus stop. It's about as close as it gets, but wasn't quite enough. Boy, Buttermore, though, really angling into the bus stop early, and it got away from him. Beautiful save by Buttermore. That's the experience. He saved it, but that's the old fast in, slow out.
It really is, and you see that how that much affected him on the exit of the bus stop on the straight line speedway. He was able just to drive right back around.
Absolutely. By the way, heading up here, a bit of a loop here for the number 9. That's John Shannon, and he drives the American Foundry Shannon Motorsports Corvette. That's at turn 6, and that's a corner that happens on because, as we said, it's so important to get the launch up onto the banking, and so you tend to get a little bit greedy here. Oh, I think we've got that's the 03. Suddenly real slow for Oscar Hernandez. He was struggling a little bit anyway, but now that car is well off the pace, Jeff. Something has gone wrong.
Yeah, he's got some problems. I've seen that kind of running around through the whole field. He's just trying to salvage a finish here in the national championships.
Looking at our 3rd place finisher runner at this stage, a little bit jumping the gun here in terms of a finisher here, and should see the white flag this time by for Kurt Resitano, and one more lap of this storied speedway for these guys. As there's Calvert again, on the hammer, out of turn number 6, coming up on the back of
that's number 27 of Nicole Jacques. She's local to San Francisco region SCCA. Had a motor failure in this car a little bit earlier in the week. They got that motor changed, the Borelli Motorsports team. Had a brake problem a little bit earlier after that, so she's really struggled here running in her second SCCA National Championship race. Works for Apple, so talk about a good company to work for there. She's got a really nice iWatch on, and might try to go over to her pits and get some hints on this new iPhone's coming out and see when you can get yourself a new laptop as well. But Nicole Jacques doing a great job here, sitting in the 15th position.
And the white flag out now, the number 37 of Kurt Resitano. He's got some traffic in front. That's some of the T3 cars. That's Scotty White that has been able to close it up a little bit onto the back of Jason Ott again, but not quite enough here. And here comes Resitano. And again, Kurt now, his margin is just huge, actually. He's got tons of room and can be very, very patient in executing his passes. And he does that, gives Scotty a nice wide berth, and will do the same to Ott as he catches him, and then Wickersham.
Giving him plenty of room coming down here into the West Horseshoe. You don't see him pushing that issue down into the braking zone. He'll tuck right behind Ott, either wait for this straightaway or the next straightaway to try to make that move and get around. He's going to go to the outside here. Gives him plenty of room. You see he could run another car in between there if he wanted to. And Ott gave way a little bit as well, knowing that is your leader. And he's coming through the field onto the oval, and this has got to be some great redemption for Kurt Resitano.
Boy, isn't it? And you know, his spotters were just telling Kurt there, and Jason probably has him as well, just to you know, make sure, let him through. That's the overall leader. He's not in your class. Don't worry about it. Let him slide through, and a nice job being done. But for Kurt Resitano, I mean, he has waited a year for this opportunity here. He's got a couple of cars up in front of him now. That white Mustang is Wickersham, who's in the T3 category, and the orange Corvette running in T2. But again, Kurt has lots of time, lots of margin he can deal with here as he swings to the outside. Last time out of the bus stop, way up high onto Daytona's banking. He's up there in that high lane now, and he's just going to ride it right now. He's got that throttle pinned, and it's going to be coming out of Speedway 4. And now the track flattens out, the short chute, and then into the 17-degree banking tri-oval. Kurt Resitano, a year after catastrophe at Mazda Raceway, brings home the gold at Daytona International Speedway. That's what you call, as you said, Jeff, you know, resolution and closure. I think we could add to that as well. He's waited a year for this one, and boy, did he execute it to perfection.
It really was, and this one was an earned championship for himself as well. It looks like Jason Ott got around Scotty White there for third in our T3 category right there at the end.
So, yeah, just fascinating what's unfolding. Here comes Preston Calvert as he brings home the final medal. Cooper McNeil did get that second spot in the WeatherTech BMW, and Preston Calvert, the Calvert Dynamics Ford Mustang, earns the final medal, the bronze. Tim Kesman, not able to get that super sweep, but a good top 5 at National Championship Runoffs competition in 4th, and Bill Collins hanging on in the 5th spot. And we saw when John Buttermore had that moment, Marty Grand was able to get through, but he wasn't quite close enough to do anything with Bill Collins. So that's how that's going to play out. And in our T3 category, Bob Shader, as we watch the 05 of Nathan Waldbaum come through in his Hoosier and Vet Sport machine, comes by in the Hutter Engineering entry. But again, Bob Shader winning in the T3 category. Again, not a gold, it's not a national championship class, but he will get credited with the big win over Tom Wickersham and Jason Ott. So nice job there. And watching Nathan Waldbaum, there's little bits of smoke out of the back of that car. He's had sort of a troubled event here, and he didn't get the qualifying he wanted, just outside of the top 15. Was just never able to find the speed he wanted out of that car.
No, he was not, and we got to give credit and props to all of our T3 competitors as well, not going for that national championship, but Bob Shader able to get the win in T3. Wickersham, my bud there from Northern California, gets second place. Jason Ott, another one of those drivers, does a lot of pro racing, sitting in third. Scotty B. White in fourth, and Tom Brady able to get a top 5 in the T3 class.
And there is a look at the champion, Kurt Resitano. And I'll tell you, we've been talking about it, that Phoenix performance and Phoenix American team is something special. These cars, you always know when you're driving one of their cars, it is prepped exceptionally well, and it's up to you to get behind the wheel of that car and give it the ride it needs. And boy, did Kurt Resitano do that, and is enjoying this cool down lap. A lot of other cars that are a little bit quicker right now, but I think that's just Kurt going, I'm savoring the moment.
Absolutely, he is, and I totally expected. I think if I was to win my national championship, I would light this rear tires up and have to tow me in on the record, because I would burn those tires off here, getting so excited, getting a championship. And like we said, it's a good redemption for him. No fault of his own in the last year's championship as well, just making the apex of the corner down there in turn number 1, and then a car coming down through the pit lane there at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. And he said at the beginning, like Hayward Wagner mentioned, his best friend was that inside wall in turn number 1. That was not going to happen this year.
Absolutely, that's what it played. You see a lot of cars that are being released. They're doing some hardship laps. No morning warm-ups here at Daytona. So cars that had some major work done on them overnight, they give them the opportunity to just go out and drive one easy lap, make sure that everything is working on the car. In Resitano, showing the great discipline and patience he did during the race when he came up on traffic, just waited, let them all go, and now makes the move down into our staging area for our winners and top 3 medalists interviews, if you will. And that means that Hayward Wagner is down there and waiting. And as always happens, he peels the helmet off, and we're going to send it down to Hayward Wagner as the celebrations begin for the final day. Hayward.
A big smile for Kurt Resitano here in pit lane, getting the Hoosier neck wrap. Kurt, my first question for you on turn 1, did you have any eyes out the windshield, or was it all mirrors going into turn 1?
No, I went pretty soft into 1. I was definitely staring in the mirrors. I didn't want any contact or anything like last year. I was definitely being careful. I just tiptoed around, and whenever they said I had a little gap in the infield, I just figured, you know what, I'm going to drive it the way I normally drive it and just bring it home.
Greg talked a good bit in the race about your story, starting out as crew with the Phoenix team, getting an opportunity to get in the car. Tell me what this means to you to be able to bring a Phoenix racing car to a national championship.
Oh, this is a really special one for us, because this is kind of the car that started everything for me. This is the very first car I ever ran a majors race in, and it's just been a blast. And I think it's still my favorite car to drive out of anything that we have. And we built this thing out of basically scraps from the shop. You know, we bought a wreck car and put it together, and for it to perform the way it does, again, in some pretty high dollar equipment in this class, you know, it's been great. And this thing, I have a special place in the heart in this car because of last year and all the accident and everything. So it's great.
Well, big congratulations to you. This is your first national championship. Very commanding performance. Got out front, set a tide. Anybody you need to thank before we send you out on this victory lap?
Yeah, I'd really like to thank Hawk, Hoosier, Joe Aclamani, and Phoenix Performance, especially Preston Calvert. He's helped me out so much and let me drive the car and helped me get to this point. And really, thanks to all the rest of the guys for making T2 an awesome class this year. This has been great.
All right, congratulations to you. We're going to go back and find Cooper McNeil, who I believe is climbing out of this red T2 Mustang, getting the gloves off. So we'll head over right, see if we can catch a break in traffic. All right, so we got Preston Calvert here. Preston getting the bronze medal here in Touring 2. You guys had a pretty good scrap going for a good chunk of this race.
We really did. You know, I was trying to get ahead. I got ahead of Cooper at the very beginning. His tires had clearly not warmed up yet, and once I got ahead of him, his tires came in, and I couldn't really hold him off in the draft. And then once he was up to speed, it was really hard to catch him. I managed to draft him a little bit, but once he was really going, it was hard to keep with him. But Tim Kesman behind me. You know, it was all I could do to stay in front of him. He did a great job. And well, you guys were really proud of my teammate Kurt Resitano, his first of many national championships.
It's a great story and a great drive by you, and really the show of the race was you guys battling it out. So a great job for everybody in this field.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, now we're looking for McNeil.
Well, as he's obviously in search of our second place finisher in that white WeatherTech BMW. It's a big scrum down there. We get to watch Kurt Resitano set sail on a very special, I would think, when you take a look at the experience of the last year. And then you heard him talking about the car, that's the first car he drove. It has been through the grist mill for sure, and that's the car that got wrecked comprehensively at the start last year at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and they built it back up, and you could see it's like hand in glove when he crawls behind the wheel of that machine.
And don't forget, he was wounded a little bit too. That was a huge lick that he took, so he was sore for a few days after that crash, and good to see that he was okay, and great to see that they are able to get this car replaced, and he's able to have the ultimate redemption back here at Daytona International Speedway.
Absolutely. Now, I think, there it is. That's the white BMW we were looking for. Hayward?
This is Bob Shader, our winner here in Touring 3, getting the gold medal around the neck. Bob, it looked like you guys had started off with a pretty good scrap, but you found something that nobody else had.
Well, I'm very, very, very fortunate. I have Hoosier as my sponsor. I have Nissan's car, and the combination was unbeatable, and it just worked flawlessly this morning.
Now, you've got a little bit of a custom body work on the front end of this car with that black bumper. Tell us a little bit about how that came to be.
Well, one of my buddies behind me, coming through the bus stop, pitched a cone at me, and I couldn't get out of its way, and it tore the front end up. So we had to go down and find a new one, and that was the best Band-Aid we could find.
All right, well, great drive for you. Congratulations on the first place finish here in Touring 3.
Thank you very much.
Bob Shader, again, a great story. His national championship that he won back in 1985 in Sports 2000. He's been a regular at the Runoffs for a lot of years. He's come close again many times, and I'm sure this is a little bit bittersweet for him because this wasn't a national championship race just because of class entries, but that was a national championship caliber drive.
It really was. He still gets that gold medal 30 years later from his last one.
Yeah, pretty cool, isn't it? Here's a look at the results. Kurt Resitano, Cooper McNeil, and Preston Calvert earning the medals. Resitano, that first national championship. I think Preston was right. First of many for Kurt if he continues to run here at the Runoffs. Tim Kesman, not quite getting the super sweep, as we said, a good top 5 with Bill Collins and Marty Grand, John Buttermore. Michael Levine, a good run up into 8th, and completing that top 10, 9th and 10th, Jim Lighthizer and Aaron Kaplan. And just good runs all. And Jim Lighthizer, it was nice to see him come back again, and a guy that won a national championship a few years ago, and for him to be able to come up and put that car into the top 10, well played there as well.
Well, they might not be going for that national championship, but the T3 category still getting a win here. Once again, congratulations to Bob Shader in that Nissan, John Wickersham in his Mustang, Jason Ott in that BMW Z4 on a last lap pass over Scotty B. White in his Mustang, and Tom Brady in 5th.
And here's a look at how this one started, and you can see Resitano went in real deep. He didn't want anybody close to him here, and was able to just execute the move. A little bit of a bump here as Bob Shader working his way through some of the other cars, and Russell Peterson and he having that little bit of a coming together. For Shader, it dinged the car a little bit, but he was able to drive off, and then Buttermore here, big loose moment, let Marty Grand slide through and move up into that spot. But when it was all said and done, Kurt Resitano bringing home national championship #1. I can't count how many Phoenix Performance has won as a team, but again, just a remarkable day here at Daytona International Speedway. So thanks so much for joining us here. And again, Kurt Resitano, what a story he has been since he crawled behind the wheel, and starting off as a crew member, and to see him get this national championship has been very, very special. And this is just the first of many more to unfold, not just for Kurt, but for us here on this day, this final day of the 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs presented by Garmin Verb. Thanks so much for joining us here on the coverage. Brought to you by Mazda. For Jeff Lepper and Hayward Wagner, I'm Greg Creamer. Looking forward to talking to you next time, folks. The 2015 SCCA National Championship Runoffs, presented by Garmin Verb, is being brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, driving matters.
16 wide eyes. Driver's license, took 2 tries, bought a Roadster secondhand. Playing parties with the band, loaded up, off to state. Hijinks, tailgates, starter, midsize. Family cruising. Now in the garage, something new reminds you of when you were you.
It's time to face facts. You're a gearhead. You wish the freeway on-ramp was your personal racetrack. Well, buckle up, buddy, because the Sports Car Club of America wants you. With 40,000 members and events across the country, the SCCA has all the excitement you can handle. Dance the blacktop two-step with SCCA Solo. Get down and dirty with SCCA Rallycross. Or go wheel-to-wheel with SCCA Club Racing. Hit the track with the SCCA, where America's best drivers race.